So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Happy New Year to everybody, and we're here to talk about the Spurs game. I have a little helper here behind me, so just in case anybody is wondering why I'm a small bit distracted, my beautiful little assistant here, who I think is nearly grown up with everybody here in the podcast. You might remember that when she was born, she made a couple of cameos in the podcast, but she's sitting here behind me today, and she's going to be a fantastic helper. And I know that she's going to be an excellent good luck charm for Aston Villa today. So if anybody's wondering why I'm not looking at the screen and I'm feverishly looking over this way, it's because I'm wondering what she's going to pull off the wall next. Anyway, Happy New Year to everybody. I hope you've all had a fantastic night last night. Good night of celebrations. I hope that we have another day of celebrations today. I want to give a big shout out to all the people meeting up in Taft's Bar in Galway today. Excuse me. For the Connacht Lions. As long-term listeners to the podcast will know, the Connacht Lions have a really good record of when they meet up in Taft's Bar of getting results, whether it be draws or scrappy wins. So fingers crossed that comes through as well today. And if you can hear any banging on a window behind me, it is my little assistant. So we've got a game today. Ironically enough, or not ironically enough, obviously enough, should I say. That's why we're doing a team sheet tantrum. And Paddy is at the game, and we're hoping he's going to be able to jump in a moment to join us from the stadium. Oh, we've just had a little tumble there, but everything looks okay. So Paddy's going to just join us from the stadium later on, hopefully. Slight issue with tickets and things like that, so he's just trying to get that sorted out, and he will be with us in a moment. Paddy's been over in London for the best part of 3 or 4 days, sampling the sites and getting to I suppose really immersing himself in that side of London. So it's going to be interesting to hear what he has to say for himself. But obviously, I think the big news, not news, but the big rumor that's going around the place is that Emi Martinez has chosen, or that Unai Emery has chosen not to start Emi Martinez. Now, we will find that out once it is official in a moment, but he's chosen not to start Emi Martinez today, and we'll go with Robin Olsen and goals. How true that is, I don't know. It's just been doing the rounds on Twitter yesterday, so we will know in the next 7 minutes if that is the case. Let's take a little look at some of your comments there. Ronan, thank you so much for that. Love the podcast. Happy New Year, Neil and Paddy. And we're in big trouble if Emi doesn't start. Yeah, I think everybody wants to see Emi start for sure. But we'll have to see. And the interesting thing about it is if it's an Unai Emery choice, I'm not going to go down the road. I suppose I'm just pinning my colours to the mast. I'm not going down the road of there's friction between the two of them from their Arsenal days, because I personally think that's been put to bed by both people speaking about it and poo-pooing that. So for me, I don't think that is the case at all. But as I say, Emi Martinez could have came back. He came back on Friday. Apparently he trained. Apparently he went through an awful lot of work at Bodymore Heath, and we'll see if he starts today. We will know in 6 minutes' time. What do you think, little puddings? Do you think Emi Martinez is going to start? Oh yeah, you'll say nothing now, of course, when there's a microphone thrown in front of you. Yeah, you go hide behind the curtain. Good girl. Okay. James McGann asks here, what's your opinion on us wanting Jordan Pickford? I don't know. Jordan Pickford is hot and cold for me. And I'm not quite sure that he's the man to replace Emi Martinez. Everybody, 2 seconds. I need to rescue a child that's caught in a curtain. 2 seconds. This is as professional as always. Come here. Come here. Apologies for that little interlude there. But what is my opinion on Jordan Pickford? I don't know. I think he's hot and cold. You know, he does have his detractors for a reason, and he does make some mistakes from time to time. But he had a really good World Cup for England, and maybe he's maturing a small bit. I'd have other names on the list before him, but my number one name on the list would be Emi Martinez. I don't think there's much in the Jordan Pickford thing. I think it's a 2 and 2 together makes 25 situation. But for me, I'd have other goalkeepers ahead of Jordan Pickford that I would like us to sign, or that I would be more interested in us signing. Hello, you. Excellent. Let's see where else we're. Oh, I saw one there as well, guys. I saw one there. Where's it gone to? Cash has to start. Somebody said there a moment ago. Yeah, I think the Cash starts today as well. Not that Ashley Young has been poor or anything like that, because obviously he hasn't been. But Matty Cash is better, and that's my sole reasoning. To be honest with you, I think our attacking impetus is just much better when we've got Cash in there. But then again, we need to defend, and we're going to need to defend against the Spurs team as well. So that's another thing that we're going to have to look for to see if that is going to transpire. Let me just hide that comment there a moment. And we have somebody who's coming in here. And Paddy is at the stadium. Paddy, how's things?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. We've got a third wheel in the podcast today. We got a third wheel in the podcast today. Oh, no, you can't.
No. I'm sure she'll speak more sense than both of us, I'd say.
Yeah, more or less. Oh God, of course she finds the thing that makes the most noise. I don't know if everybody can hear that squeaking. But she's okay. We'll stop that now for a moment. Paddy, how are they all in North London?
All is good. It's dry. Thank God. After getting absolutely soaked yesterday all day, traveling around North London, visiting all the local hosteleries, and yeah, so excited, looking forward to it. But all waiting on this team sheet now to see, have we got a goalkeeper, or are we going to be worrying about our?
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody's looking to see if what the crack is there. Is there a big Villa contingent there, Paddy?
Well, the away end is slow to fill up. I managed to get into a pub with Spurs and Villa fans in it. So just arrived. The tickets arrived late, so we were standing outside for a while, which is why I'm late coming on. There's Philip Drew from the Irish Lions.
Hey, Philip. There, you're talking to Irish Aston Villa fan royalty between the two lads there. They've seen more losses. There it is. That's the flag. That's what we're looking for. The Paul McGrath flag. I love it.
Yeah. So we've all arrived safe and sound anyway, and weren't affected by any strikes or anything, and that's the most important thing. So we've got here, and now we're just looking for a good atmosphere and a good game, hopefully.
Exactly. Are you in the part of the stadium again, which has the standing rails in front for safe standing?
You see it there?
Yeah.
They're dotted all around the stadium. I think that's more the American football end that they've created that atmosphere for. So in the corners down there, you'll see patches of them. But all the away end is all this safe standing. So in fairness, they were clever enough to know that anyone in the away end stands anyway. So you may as well have it that way.
No, that's okay. We've had another tumble here beside me. You know what? She'd have 2 penalties won already, the way that she's after flopping on the floor here. That's it. You win your penalties. For that. So team sheet is on the way. I think it might actually be announced already. Are they early? No, not yet.
It's
not
1
yet.
o'clock now. We should be hearing it, I'd say.
Should be getting it any moment. Yeah. Okay, if that keeps you quiet, that's okay. You can continue to do that. So we're 1 minute to 1, so we should be getting the team sheet any moment. I'm going to give the team alert a break for the moment because there's too many things going on here. I don't need big loud klaxons at the moment. Oh, what do you
have enough noise going on behind me to worry about any klaxons that are going on.
Yeah, so, and I've got somebody here who's after picking something up off the floor. So
just before we get the team sheet Tantrum, I did a tour of the stadium yesterday. What an impressive facility this place is. Absolutely incredible. I advise anyone that's coming here to go and have a look at it. We'll talk about it during the week, but the team is in. So let's worry about that because we have a Tantrum on the way.
Exactly, yeah, because here is the team sheet. Team sheet is in, and Robin Olsen does start with Emi Martinez on the bench. Straight away, not a fan. Then we've got Young, Konza, Mings, Dignac, Matty Cash still deemed not fit enough or good enough to be started at right back. I personally think that's I think Matty Cash should have started today anyway. Anyway, we've got McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Kamara, Buendia, Watkins, and Bailey. Essentially an unchanged team from the game against Liverpool, and we did play well against Liverpool in lots of parts. So let's hope that we take those good parts in and multiply them and have more of them today, and try and get the result. But obviously, big news there is Cash and Martinez deemed still not ready, whether it be mentally or whether it be physically, to contribute from the start, which is, to me, is quite amazing, I think. But
it's disappointing above everything else, because we'd like a bit of talk about why they're not involved.
Yeah,
like it's 2 weeks after the World Cup final. For me, he was very late coming back, and the big question has to be asked about Matty Cash. What's going on? Is he injured? Is he carrying something? Or has he decided that Aston Young is a better player than Matty Cash? Strange one.
Yeah, I think it is too. We'll talk about the subs as well. Emi Martinez and the subs. There's going to be a man in Taffs that won't be happy that Emi Martinez isn't starting anyway. And if anybody is within touching distance in Old Connacht, then make way. Do not be within arm's reach of him. She's going to reach out and try and hit somebody, I'd say, because he was very much looking forward to Emi Martinez starting. But Martinez is on the bench with Cash. Morgan Sanson comes onto the bench as well for today's game. Ings, Chambers, Augustinsson, Bednarek, Coutinho, and Archer. Caden Young drops out from midweek from the game last Sunday, whenever it was as well. So that's another change in the bench. As Morgan Sanson is back on the bench, and he's alive. He's Morgan Sanson. But I think it's actually a nice person to have on the bench for this game, because he's in this, look, for whatever Sanson, when his mythicalness happens and when he's actually available to play, he is pretty industrious when he gets around the field. So I'd imagine he might get a few minutes tonight. Also, I'm right in saying there's no Dendoncker on the bench.
No Dendoncker, yeah.
No Dendoncker on the bench. Asked that question too. Paddy, do we sign Dendoncker outright, or did we sign him on loan with a view to purchasing him for 13 million?
We signed him, didn't we? He's ours.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did, yeah.
No, the reason I was asking is I wonder, because if he was only signed on loan with the limited minutes he's had, even prior to Unai Emery coming in, it could be a situation whereby we're maybe revisiting all those loans, maybe, and not taking up the options. But I think we did sign him as well. It was just something in the back of my mind. We did actually signed him outright. But no Dendoncker on the bench as well tonight. Another talking point, I think, for this team sheet for sure. Let's have a look at the Spurs team. We can come back and we can discuss more about the about Villa in a moment. Yeah. Now,
I missed the Spurs lineup talking to you. I don't know whether there's any big changes in there or not.
Here it is.
Look who's here.
Kieran, how's things? I tell you, it's absolute royalty at the game today. Aston Villa supporting royalty today.
He found me anyway.
So Spurs team is in. We've got Lloris in goals, Romero, Langley, and Davies. Oh, it looks like it's going to be a back. Maybe it's a back four. Maybe it's a back five. Davies, Doherty, Matt Doherty gets a game today. Højbjerg, Basuma in there. Perisic, Brian. Is that Brian Gill?
Brian
today.
Gill, isn't it?
That's an interesting one because he's barely got any look. So that looks like it's going to, for me, that looks like it's probably going to be five at the back with Perisic playing one wing back, Doherty playing the other wing back, Romero, Longley, and Davis playing the three centre halves, Højbjerg, Basuma, and then Brian, Son, and Kane then playing up top. That's what that one looks like to me. But an interesting team. And they've got Pape Matasar on the bench as well, along with Jed Spence, Ryan Sessegnon, Emerson Royale, Eric Dyer, Tangana, Sanchez, and Ollie Skip as well. So they're missing a bit in the striking department. I think if somebody gets injured in that striking department, I think they'll struggle to replace them because they look like they're to their bare bones from that point of view. But an interesting one.
The big question for Villa fans is why is Romero playing as an Everton player and our goalkeeper can't?
100%. 100%. Massive
Kieran,
questions need to be asked about that.
Kieran is trying to connect here to give us some pearls of wisdom. Are you having trouble? Yeah, but that's my biggest question tonight. Did Emmy Martinez overdo the celebrations? And look, if I won the World Cup, there, but for the grace of God, I would go absolutely bonkers if I won the World Cup. So
Yeah.
who knows?
We have to remember as well, this is Unai Emery's decision not to play him.
Yes, absolutely.
So, like, we have to see. Yeah, there's a huge inquest into this, and like, what did he say? What did I say, Paddy, when all the shithousery was happening? I was saying that, like, there's going to come a time when it's going to come crashing down for him, and how he depends on that. It depends on how he handles that. Is going to be huge. Look, it's one game. We don't know the ins and outs of it. We're all making things up here as we go along. But it is a question. If Romero is fit enough to start at centre half, why isn't Martinez fit enough to start in goals? So maybe it could be a concentration mentality thing.
Let's see if you can see Kieran. Can you hear Kieran there?
No, I can't hear him. With AirPods, the microphone is only on one AirPod, and I think it's the one that you have, Paddy.
It's funny loud. I'm going to go with a 3-1 to Spurs today, Neil.
3-1 to Spurs?
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
Unfortunately.
The only hope I have is that we play in a high line and we go absolutely bonkers in attack, and we go with a 3-all or a 4-all, and we have a great day out.
Well, I think I'm more optimistic now from the point of view that they've got no strikers on the bench, none whatsoever on the bench. And for me, like, if they're starting Brian Hill, there's players that are injured there, and if they pick up an injury to any of that front three, they're going to have to completely change their formation, or put Perisic up there, maybe bring in a right or left back in that situation. But yeah, I think that they're going to have to be manage themselves, I think, as a front three, because if it's been a long time since games have been played as well, so match sharpness and stuff like that, specifically for guys coming back from the World Cup, like Son, like Harry Kane, that might be an issue for them too as well, with minutes in their legs and getting tired. So we'll see. I'm crossing my fingers, and that is literally clutching at straws what I've spoken about there. But we will see, and the game is going to be a difficult one for sure. Anyone there in the chat, if you want to start popping in your predictions for the game today, I'm going to go with. I'm a bit more optimistic. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And my reasoning for it is, I thought we'd get a 1-1 draw against Liverpool, and that's why I was so upset afterwards, because I felt it was there for the taking. And this Spurs team I'm looking at here, that isn't better than the Liverpool team that we faced, albeit that we faced Liverpool at home and we now travel to Spurs. So if we put in the same overall performance and even improve it by 5% from the last day, I think we've enough to take this game to Spurs.
I absolutely agree with you there. And the main point for that is they played Brentford the other day and they were poor and they got out of jail there. So I think if we can play with the intensity we did at the first 20 minutes of the second half against Liverpool, I think we can go and put a couple of goals on these early. But we need to get into the game from the start, because we know there's a mistake coming, especially if we play that high line. That's the worrying thing today. When you've got Son and Harry Kane, that's no Darwin Núñez making the wrong decisions, taking the ball down 30 yards out and taking the shot and not backing himself. Son will just run at Robin Oates and take the ball around and put it in the back of the net. Harry Kane will do the same.
Son loves the goal against us.
Doesn't he just? And so does Harry Kane.
And so does Harry Kane, is right. Yeah, so does Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane is the most goals. AVFC Stato had said Harry Kane is the most goals of any active player in the Premier League against Aston Villa at the moment. Come here, Aaron. Do you want to give us a prediction for the score? That's one way to keep her quiet. Ask her a question. Freezes.
And happy birthday to AVFC Stato too. It's his birthday today, isn't it?
It's AVFC Stato. Yeah, it's his goal. It's his birthday as well today. So happy birthday to him. There's a couple of people who joined late.
I'll ask Philip for a prediction here now. Philip, what do you reckon? I might have to call it out for you. 2-2.
2-2 says Philip. Yeah, Philip's on the same bandwagon as me.
Nathan, what do you reckon?
Out of this. Philip thinks we could get a draw.
Nathan reckons 20-0. The Spurs.
Nathan reckons. I missed Nathan there. How are you doing, Nathan? Nathan reckons 20-0. Right, let's do a little bit of a rundown here. And sorry, this is going to be a bit of an abridged team sheet tantrum today
Neil,
because
we're gonna cut out here because we can barely hear anything with all that noise behind.
Perfect,
But,
no bother. Thanks a million, everybody. Enjoy your day, Kieran.
Day.
Enjoy your day, Philip. Enjoy your day, Nathan. Enjoy your day, Paddy. And here's to an Aston Villa win. Thanks so much for jumping on, guys. All righty-o. So here's a bit of a roundup of all of your of all the predictions. So Junior Bennett says 1-1. Ian says 2-2. C Lion says 2-2. Keith says 3-1 Spurs. Rachel Insel Lewis says 3-0 Spurs. Danielle says 2-0 to Spurs. Tim Mosley says 2-1 Spurs. Originally 2-2 from Rex Colt, but changed it to 2-1 Spurs. Western Ood says Spurs will get round the back of us and win 3-1. Roger Kipling says 3 or 4 goals to Spurs. We always concede 3 or 4 goals whenever Robin Lawson plays. Daniel says 2-1 to Villa and says 1-1 to 1-1 as well. She's on the same bandwagon as me. I'm after losing all the rest of them. Where we go? John Steele says 4-0 to Villa. God, I hope so. Jordy Villain says 8-7 to Aston Villa. Damien says 2-2. Where else are we there? Rob Henry, good to see you, Rob, says 2-0 Spurs. And yay for Aston Villa comes from behind me here. Dan Pillow says 3-2 to Villa. Darren says 0-0 draw. It could be. Tom Ryan says 2-2. Sean says 1-0 to Villa. Christopher Gonzalez says 4-0. Olsen masterclass, and he never buys a drink at Brum again. I'd love to see it. Jam Jack says hard call today. I never bet against Aston Villa, but 2-1 to Spurs. Paddy Hartnett says 2-2. Paddy Hartnett, good Spurs fan from my side of the country here. We've him Mail Aya says 2-4. Come on. Love Bleed says 2-2. 3-0 says Lee Bradshaw. Stephen Rowbottom says 3-2 to Aston Villa. Paul Miller says 2-2 would be a decent result. And we're going to leave it at that. Guys, we've got one more in. The Magic Magnum says 3-2 to Villa. We'll be shaky defensively, but we'll be an end-to-end game where we're finally clinical. I'm actually a bit more optimistic about this game now since I've seen the team sheets. Obviously, look, I think I had myself prepared for Emmy Martinez not starting from some time out, but I think that Robin Olsen, look, the spotlight's going to be on him today, and questions will be asked after the game, I think, as to why Martinez didn't start. And so guys, I suppose my synopsis of this is I genuinely believe that if we create the chances we did against Liverpool, we may be able to get something out of this game today. Obviously, the defensive high line that we had against Liverpool won't cut the mustard today against these wide players, and obviously Harry Kane. Mings and Konza will need to be like I will be very critical of that centre half partnership in the post match if they aren't. If the communication looks like it's not right, because I thought communication against Liverpool between the two centre halves was absolutely awful. Now, I don't know. I can't hear what's going on there. They just looked like they were unsure of who was supposed to be going, who was supposed to be staying, little things like that, where runners were coming from. And that's probably down to a good strike force that Liverpool have as well. So I probably can't put it all on their backs. But they need to be rocks today. They absolutely need to be rocks today, because we're going to need our two wing backs to create some width for us in attack when we play the 4-2-2-2 formation that we do play. We don't have Jacob Ramsey again today, which is a massive outlet for us in carrying the ball. So we're going to have to manufacture things through the wings like we did against Liverpool. So that means the biggest... You can talk about Robin Olsen all day, and hopefully he doesn't make any mistakes, but a big pressure point for us are the two centre halves. And when we did that last year in Villa Park, Harry Kane ate our lunch. All he did was drag the two of them left and right, drag them all around the place. We had no sitting six in front of them. Douglas Luiz was absent without leave up the field for the majority of the game, as was Luca Dean, and we got absolutely picked apart. Albeit we had tons of chances. They scored 4 goals, and we looked very amateurish at back. We can't let that happen again. I would like to see a bit more of a calmer head in goals behind that. We might be able to organise people a bit more. Well, let's see how the game pans out today. Aston Villa versus Spurs. It's 45 minutes time, 2:00. I am going to have to leave because I'm double jobbing, as you guys can probably see here behind me. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining. I hope you all stay safe, stay healthy. I hope you've got have a brilliant new year. Here's to a win for Villa today. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.